All right, I'm making this video because most people that I've seen talk about this deck have no idea what is going on or what this deck is, how this deck is able to put up inboards like this or like this, and what exactly causes this deck to be, in my opinion, arguably top 5 in the meta right now, if not top 3, just because of its versatility, just because of its first turn kill ability, and just because of how efficient it is of playing against, through, full inboards, disruptions, etc., etc. So this deck right here is called Dragon Swordsman. This is a OCG deck that is very popular right now in Japan. It has 2 variations. This is my variation, and I'll tell you which cards you can really take out of this. And the other variation is Melodious Dragon Swordsman. Both of these pretty much accomplish the same end goal of putting up a V-Link lock, essentially, whether through Secret Village or Bagooska, but mainly Secret Village right now because of Tenpai being such a problem in the meta. And the differences between the Melodious version and Dragon Swordsman is essentially the Melodious engine giving you multiple ways of playing against Disruption and multiple starters. This essentially gives you about, I think it's about 15 ways of starting into your engine, or 12 if I'm not mistaken, comparatively to the 9 of the other deck, with just 1 card starters by themselves. And those being the Motorbike, the Prodigy, Asanato, and I'm missing one. Bunbuku. Bunbuku will get you there as well. With those being said, I'm going to focus specifically on just the regular Dragon Swordsman, as this is the one I pilot the most. I'm proficient in using the Melodious one. And like I said, everything is relatively the same. It's just that the package for this, I personally am not a big fan of. For one reason and one reason only, and it's because if this gets ashed, this gets shut off completely. If this doesn't get ashed, then it's pretty much the exact same combo with a little bit more extra steps and early Apo protection, which is great, but it's not necessarily necessary in my opinion. Whenever playing this deck, because you kind of just don't fear much of anything. Like if you get nibbed, yeah, that's kind of detrimental, but like you're playing a FTK deck in the first place, so it's like, all right, bro, if you lose, you lose, so it is what it is. So for my engine, like I said, this is my personal list. I will show you the cards that you can take out. Personally, I recommend, if you're going to play my list, this is how I would play it. The cards that you can take out though, like I said, Abyss Actor, Dynamis Charge, Magic, you can take out Master Pendulum, and that's probably the talents. Those would be the 4 cards I would take out personally. You can either keep the talents and then take out the Sky Iris, but I think that just has a lot of utility just in case you get stopped at any point. So I'm going to discard changes and then explain to you my decision making and the key cards for everything. Also, before I get started on all of that, I would like to give a special shout out to 2 people. The first person who actually introduced me to this deck, I found him on Twitter. His name is Nobu27182. Last DC Cup, he got 44th playing or piloting a deck pretty much like this. And he made an entire Discord, mind you, entirely in Japanese, had to completely translate it. It was a lot. It was hella effort. But I learned a lot from him just watching his replays from Twitter, and he was actually extremely helpful for making that Discord as well. So I would like to give a special shout out to him, just in case he's ever watching this. Yeah, bro, thank you so much. And the other person I would like to give a shout out to would be Sicecore on YouTube, Sicecore channel. He does nothing but pretty much pilot this deck exclusively, sorry. And is actually extremely proficient in this deck. So if you want to watch somebody live piloting it instead of just getting replays and games, you can watch someone live. That's also how I learned as well, just watching him, seeing what situations, what cards are useful, how to play around certain situations, which then caused me to make this variation of the deck to, you know, pretty much play against main issues and main chunk points in the meta currently. So let's get back into the breakthrough and the key cards and whatever other, and the extra cards that I added into my build. So for the extra cards, I'll start with this Master Pendulum. This is honestly not necessary. The only reason why I brought it into this deck is for one reason only. If you ever get into a situation where you draw let's say 2 Odd Eyes Revolutions, 2 Super Heavy Samurais, and maybe a Motorbike. In that case, you don't have a normal summon level 4 to synchro into to get into Ignition Prominence, which is the main engine piece to this entire deck. So with that being said, this is that level 4. You then use an in-hand effect to get 1 dragon monster from your hand, or from your deck to your hand. And the 2 targets are only going to be Luster Pendulum and Master Pendulum. Master Pendulum being a non-tuner, where Luster Pendulum is a tuner, so these 2 could not go into Ignition Prominence. So that is the main reason that this is in the deck. Plus, also being a low scale is also beneficial, just in case you ever get in a situation where you have nothing but high scales in your hand, and you need 1 low scale, and instead of waiting to, you know, keep this in hand in order to recycle Ignition Prominence, you instead pitch it to get your low scale to then synchro and to then go to, like, let's say another Astrograph, or you can get another Revolution to then continue your plays that way. Another card that I personally use that I like a lot as a best actor, Curtain Raiser. The reason why I like this card a lot, it's literally just a free special summon. I mean, if you get Maxx in this deck, truly, it kind of doesn't matter, because you can play around Maxx very well and still put up a decent inboard while only doing about 4 special summons in total, which would give you, if let's say you have an entire, what is this called? Pendulum hand, right? If you have an entire Pendulum hand, no hand traps or anything like that, you can still own in a board with 4 Mat, Apo, and Bagooska lock. So Maxx doesn't really matter. If you Bagooska lock, you know what I'm saying, as long as they don't draw Imperm or anything like that, or anything to stop the lock itself, they still have to get around 4 negates, which is kind of good, kind of insane. So that's partially why you don't really care about Maxx. Also, this deck can just play through Maxx and deck you out. I'll explain that process later, but the main reason why I play Abyss Actor is just a free special summon, and it's a level 4, it's a non-tuner, and it combos perfectly into a situation of Super Heavy Samurai. You literally just play this card in your scale, special summon it, and then you go into your Rakashi or your Prodigy, and you just go straight crazy. From there, it's pretty simple. Plays are pretty straightforward. Other cards that I play personally, Sky Iris. This is mainly just a consistency piece, just in case, let's say, I don't have a Revolution, or there's no way for me to get into an engine, and or let's say I just accidentally draw into all of my field spells or something like that, or I get hand trapped to death and I need a way to start recycling into Prominence in order to get or facilitate into my actual engine plays. That is why Sky Iris here is just pretty much a just in case card. And the other card that is optional in my opinion, but is very good, is Dynamis Charge. I only play one of these because you really just brick on these. And the reason why I play it is because 1, it's a continuous spell. 2, it's a searcher of power loader or power load. And power load being a non-tuner level 4 is pretty beneficial, as I said, for this deck, because as soon as you get level 4 tuner on the board and another level 4, you pretty much are in a position to win the game at that point. So that's the main reason why. You can also, if optionally, you can only play one of these like you would in the Melodious package. I personally run 2 just in case you draw one. You need, you know, a way to get into the Super Heavy engine, because that's just the easy 1-card starter that you really want to play with. And like I said, Dynamis Charge is the easy way to search a level 4. And even if this gets Ash, this is great Ash bait too. It doesn't matter, because if you have another level 4 in hand, or let's say you have Bunbuku in your hand, you then go from there, grab Porcupine, special summon it, boom, you got your level 4. So there's many different ways and engines to play into getting or facilitating into the Ignition Prominence. Yeah, other cards in this deck that are pretty much going to give you your plays. Obviously, you got Motorbike. Skullcrobat is a great way just to get another Revolution Dragon into your hand. It's not really a necessity, but it's good at 1, so that's why it's at 1. Low-key, this card is extremely clutch. If you're ever in a situation where you're playing the Maxx challenge and you have this in your hand and you get it on the field and you got Prominence on field, you win. I'm sorry to say it, you instantly deck out. And the reason why is because as soon as this card is activated, when you have a synchro on the field, your opponents cannot activate monster effects, period. So that means every hand trap that they might have in their hand is completely shut off. Combo that with the Valence World field spell, they can't use imperms. They don't. All of their hand traps are pretty much negated and shut off. And so from there, you can just go into the deck out loop of just summoning Incus for Prominence, pretty much recycling, where is it at? Recycling Electromite back into your deck with Singularity and Firewall. So that way you can then go back into another play to then continuously special summon. It's a crazy loop that allows you to deck out. Let's put it that way. Other key cards. Bunbuku low-key is extremely clutch in this deck. It's a great consistency piece. You play 3 Bunbuku, and then 1 Porcupine for the reason that I said earlier. When you normal summon this, you're able to search out any Majespecter in your deck. You only have 2, and the Majespecter would be Majesty Pegasus or Porcupine. This counts as a Majespecter card, as said here. So you have these 2 targets. You always, or typically always, go for Porcupine, because if you have a Majespecter on field, you special summon it. That gets you your level 4. But there are certain cases where you do need specifically Majesty Pegasus in order to continue your plays. Let's say you have an entire hand of Dracoslayers, which isn't ideal, but is able to still get into your engine. It is another way to play into the deck. It's just not ideal for the way of setting up a full board. There are still variations of an end board that you can get into that are where it'll be a little bit less than. So like you won't have the IP, for example, or you won't have let's say maybe the Sprite Elf, or you won't have the Trigate Wizard sometimes, but it will still allow you to pretty much have an end board and have the Secret Village lock. That's really essentially in this meta what you want to go for, is a Secret Village lock. If you don't play a Secret Village lock, like I said, or like shown earlier, you have the Bagooska lock, which if this ever gets banned, which it honestly should, I believe this card needs to get banned immediately, because it's not fun. It just facilitates one turn, or pretty much, yeah, first turn kills, and that's really boring. But yeah, this needs to get banned, so that way we can go back to the normal thing, which is the Valence World Bagooska lock. I would love that, because at least with that, you can play around it. Like, if you have 2 imperms, I'm cooked. You know what I'm saying? If you have Forbidden Droplet, I'm cooked. But considering that most board breakers are spells, yeah, this kind of just stops the entire game from being played, and that's really boring. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the deck. And so let me talk about the choke points. I think the choke points really mean a lot for this deck, because most people don't know what's going on. So the choke points for this deck, first of all, there's only one time that you really want to imperm this card right here, and that's before you would ever get into Beyond the Pendulum. So the normal play of getting into this board, you would initially go into Prodigy. Once you go to Prodigy, you then set up the Monk Search, Soulpiercer, normal summon level 4, Synchro, and then on that play right there, as soon as you Synchro into Ignister and you try to special summon a Dracoslayer, if you imperm that, I'm cooked. For the most part, I'm cooked in the sense that I don't get to search, which could, in theory, mess up my plays a lot. I will still have full skills, I'll still be able to Pendulum summon, but my board will be a lot weaker comparatively. So that's one good choke point that you can do in this board, especially if I don't have a normal summon to go into at all, or I don't have enough Pendulum monsters in order to facilitate a synchro play. Or not a synchro play, a link play going into Electromite. But typically if I go through the pathway of going to Prodigy, I have that. So that's just one example. Other plays that would make a lot of sense to imperm or big choke points. A big one, honestly, Electromite does not matter as much, but it is a good choke point. If you do hit this, I am forced into a situation where I have to go Princess and I get less value from my Electromite, but I can still play with Electromite in that sense, if that makes sense. So if I have a Revolution in hand already, imperming Electromite doesn't matter truly, because I'll just resummon it and then get it back. But also if I don't, then that kind of stops me from being able to play in a certain way. And typically whenever you're going with Ignis for Prominence, you special summon out Majesty Pegasus, and then from there you search Secret Village off rip. So if I have used this already, I'm stuck in a play where I either have to pretty much finesse my board in a sense of either I play just Secret Village and then negates, which I won't be able to go into because I have to go into Promethean Princess unless I have Link 2 on board with Beyond still. And then from there, I link these two into IP, or I link 3 monsters into IP and then have a Spellcaster on board, which is unlikely because this got Imperm. Or I'm able to pretty much pray to God that pray to God that the Valence World Extender, which part of the reason why you play this not only is for Imperm, but it's also an extender for making sure that let's say something gets Impermed or your special summon is negated at any point, you can just special a card on field to then facilitate your plays from there, is enough to continue my plays. Yeah, aside from that, basic hand traps, 3 Maxx C, 3 Ashes. In the Melodious pack, you also have the the talents, just in case you do ever draw 2. Mind you, if you do use this in a situation where you try to search for Motorbike, and this gets ashed, remember you cannot use Wakaushi. Wakaushi is not activatable when you have a spell in your graveyard, so that is a play that is completely cooked from rip. So pretty much if you ever get in a situation where you search Motorbike to get a Wakaushi and you don't have that, you're praying at least for 2 Dracoslayers to go into the Dracoslayer engine for the most part. Or you could try to go for your normal summon Bunbuku, which will give you 2 pins to go into Beyond or Electromite, whatever way you want to play into it. That's one benefit that the Melodious package does have, is that it plays the called buys because you're going to be putting spell cards in your graveyard anyway, and it has a way of removing spell cards with the Bacha and Shiberta. So that's an option that you can do. Mind you, if you get far enough into your combo, you're able to remove spell cards from your graveyard with Swordsman, or with the regular Dragon Swordsman, but you have to be deep enough into your engine where it's going to be win more if you get into that situation with Singularity and Firewall Dragon, so it's not really worth it. Actually, I might be wrong on that. I'm pretty sure these are only shuffle monsters, so yeah, ignore that last part. I'm pretty sure I'm capping on that. Yeah, I'm honestly certain I'm capping on that, so ignore that last part. Yeah, so if the Secret Vigil ever gets banned, you're playing Valence, and the reason why you're playing Valence, like I said, for imperm protection, but also as a extender, just in case something gets ashed, such as your Searchers, a consistency piece. Astrograph is also the glue to this deck. Imperming or ashing an Astrograph or imperming it is a pretty good negate. Because like I said before, it pretty much searches consistently for all your Revel Dragons, but if I already have one, it doesn't really matter that much. And plus I can just keep doing it over and over again. So the initial one is the main one that you want to focus on. If not, then that's pretty cooked. One last choke point that I think that is really, really good, that is extremely underrated, honestly, is, I'm looking for it, Exceed. If I get into a situation where I'm able to get Exceed on field, if you can negate that cooks me in a hard way, because now I don't get to recycle one of my Revel Dragons back in my hand. So let's say that's my only one that I'm recycling over and over. If that gets imperm, that stops a lot of my plays. Also, typically you pitch a pin monster to your graveyard. If you stop me from being able to add a card to my hand and I don't have another high scale to put back on the board in order to special summon that from my graveyard, that is also another way to stop this deck. So those are simple ways those are situational choke points that really affect this deck. But like I said, a lot of these things are just very situational, and you have to have extremely good hand knowledge or just get extremely lucky on these imperms or negates for them to really matter. And like I said, this deck can play through hand traps like it is nothing. I have replays where I can show that, but before that, I will show you a combo showcase where I pilot this deck, and I'll show you how to get to each inboard, whether it's with the Valence inboard or it's with the Secret Village inboard. So let's go ahead and get to that now. Okay, so here is a showcase of what this deck can do and a combo guide for the combo showcase on how to facilitate your inboards. I'm going to do the Bagooska lock one. The Secret Village one is relatively the same, but if just in case Secret Village gets banned, I want to show you the Bagooska one because that one is going to be the main fallback. Also, I have Celestial in hand, which is amazing, and I'll show you why later. But from here, Rakaushi, I'm going to start it off. Rakaushi effect, Monk, summon, activate effect to search Soulpiercer. You don't normal summon Soulpiercer, you activate effect to attach it. And then from here is where you want to normal summon one of your level 4 normals, monsters. In this case, the best play would to be Skullcrobat because you can search one of your Revo dragons, but for the showcase, I'm going to specifically normal summon Celestial and then go from there into Prominence. Prominence summon, Soulpiercer 1, Rakaushi 2. And then from here, you're going to grab a Motorbike. This is actually extremely important for the end part of the Bagooska lock. Pitch, Motorbike, search, another Rakaushi. It honestly didn't matter which of the two you grab, but typically Rakaushi is going to be the one because it's a level 4, just in case. And then from here, you're going to special summon your Majespecter. Majespecter's effect. From here, you're going to search the Valence Koenig World, or whatever this is called, Koenig Wizen. And then you're going to pitch Rakaushi. Remember when I said earlier that you're going to put a pin in a graveyard? This is that pin. It can be any of the cards in your hand at the moment, but specifically we're going to use that one. From here, activate field spell. So that way now you can be able to dodge Imperm because they have a card on their field, then they can't activate Imperm. And then go into Beyond. Beyond is always going to search Revel Dragon in this case. If you pretty much are at this point of your board, the only time you search Astrograph is if you're going for lethal and you don't need to loop Revo in order to facilitate plays, or if you have one in hand. But for the most part, you should still get another Revo out of your deck just because it's beneficial. So from here, I'm going to pin summon these two. And you only summon 2. Typically, the reason why you only summon 2 is because of the fact that you're going to need the rest of these spaces for the plays. You can max summon 3, unless you're going to go for like a format Apo lock or Apo and Bagooska lock. If you don't have any other plays where you got max seed. But aside from that, this is kind of the way that you get into this position here. So from here, you don't activate this effect yet. Go into Electromite. Electromite effect. Here you get Astrograph out of your deck. Pop Rakaushi. You never pop Monk because it is actually going to be needed in the scale as your low scale, and that comes up later when you use Exceed the Pendulum. Grab back Astrograph, and you do not activate Astrograph. You leave that for this play right here, where you scale your Revo, bring back your Ignister Prominence, and now you activate it to search another Revo from your deck and add it to your hand. From here, something that's extremely important, special summoning, specifically Ignis Phoenix, and the reason why is because when we go into this play right here, Princess, you're going to use Astrograph and Electromite. Bring back your Electromite. And now you have another fire target to then go into your Phoenix. If you don't do that, then you're going to have to get rid of either your Prominence or your Electromite, which you just reborn, and both are bad plays. You're still able to play around it, but it doesn't give you as much value out of it had you have not done that. So in this case, from here, we go into Zelantis. And at this point, you have two options here. So you see that I have extra cards in hand that are pinned, which I can scale to then use Electromite effect, or I can use this to then pop my field spell, if you're playing the Valence way, to then add back the other Revo that's in your extra deck. From there, scale, and then activate Zelantis effect. From here, zone positioning matters, so I'm going to call them out by numbers from now on, starting from left to right. And you're starting with Zelantis in 3, always. Electromite in 2, always. Beyond in 4, always. And then Ignis in 1, always. From here, activate Ignis effect one more time. Bring back another Phoenix, and it has to specifically be Phoenix because you're going to pop it to the get back Electromite, or sorry, not Electromite, Astrograph, and then activate the effect for whenever it's destroyed on field or by card effect. And by card effect, you can now special summon one Dracoslayer from your deck, and you do not use Astrograph effect yet. You're going to save that for this. From this point, though, you're going to go into Firewall Dragon using 5, 4, and 1, always. Now you're going to activate the Revo that you put in your pin scale. Pop. Bring back. Now you use Astrograph effect. Special summon. And from here, you add the last Revo from your deck to your hand. From here, you can scale this Revo. And then you're going to link these two cards, which are going to be 2 and 5 always, or Electromite and Astrograph, into Exceed. Exceed effect. And you can also chain the second effect as well. So the second effect will special summon the pin that you put in your graveyard onto the field. Put that in 5. And then you can grab back your other Revo that's in your extra deck back into your hand. From here, you're going to use Prominence effect, special summon yet again. I personally recommend getting your Lusters out in these at these points because you won't use them any other place, and you can't use these for Exceeds. Remember that specifically, that they can only be used for Fusion, Synchro, and Exceed monsters for Dracoslayer cards only. So at this point, I'm going to go into Singularity. And Singularity is going to be used, actually, sorry, don't listen to me on that point. From here, you want to use Firewall effect and then put back your Electromite into your extra deck. That is actually an extremely important step. Sorry about that. That's all my fault. Extremely important step. Put Electromite back into your extra deck. You're going to be able to select another card. You don't need to. I will just to showcase it. I'll put back Soulpiercer in my hand. Now you're going to go into Singularity using 4, 3, and 1. And now to create the V-Link, using the 2 pin monsters on field, put Electromite back into the extra monster zone. From there, you're going to add pretty much any card to your extra deck. It really does not matter. So I'm going to do Bunbuku here. Activate Revo effect. From here, zone placement matters a lot, so follow along with the guide. Special summon in 2. Special summon Dracoslayer from your deck. Doesn't matter what. So I'll just do another Phoenix and I'll put that in 1. Then you're going to use Electromite effect. Pop Ignister. Get back your other Revo. Activate Phoenix, targeting a Prominence. Put that in 4. Scale. Bring back. Special summon into 2. Use the effect. Special summon into 5. And then from here, using the 3 monsters that you just special summoned, you're going to go into Tri-Gate Wizard. So 5, 4, and 2. Always. And you always special summon this into the zone that Exceed is pointing at, if just in case that these 2 monsters are flipped. In this case, it's going to be 4. And that matters a lot. If you mess that up, you won't have the Omni Negate for later. For here, you're going to, again, Reborn, bring back on field, special summon. Same process. From here is where you want to go into your Appaloosa. You're going to have a 2-mat Appo from this point on. Don't activate effect of Singularity. At this point, you can go into your Sprite Elf using 5 and Electromite. And use your last Revo effect. Summon. And then use Prominence. Special summon from your deck, your Majesty Pegasus. And then from here, you link these 2 into Bagooska. Or exceed these 2 into Bagooska. Bagooska will lock anything that's not a link. Then special summon an elf from your extra deck, or from your graveyard. And then link these 2 off into IP. Your 2 being your Ignis of Prominence and your Motorbike. Place it in 2. And then you use your Singularity effect to then bring back your Firewall Dragon from your graveyard back onto the field, causing you a full board lock with your end board being 2 monster negates, an SP link, 3 bounces, and 2 Omni negates. And the way you get 2 Omni negates is by using the first one, linking IP Masquerena and Tri-Gate Wizard into the SP that is in your extra deck. And then from the SP, banishing something, you can now use Singularity's effect to bring back Tri-Gate Wizard one more time back into the same zone that it was back in, and thus give you another Omni negate, because this is not once per turn. And then from there, you can choose whether to scale or you can just end turn. And then from here, you end with, like you see, 5 cards in hand. And in this case, I have a Maxx. Like I said, 3 bounces, 2 monster negates, Bagooska lock, and both Bagooska and Singularity are untargetable. The only way this board can be broken is by, let's say, a droplet, super poly would work, or something along those lines. But even then, it doesn't, you have to have both in order to fully clear my board, and I still have interruptions. So this board is extremely great. As you see, you can't really play around this if in a normal situation. And I will show you what the and pretty much I'll show you what the Secret Village end board will look like. It pretty much follows the same pattern as all of this, but I'm going to skip toward the end so we don't have to go through the full combo, because it's essentially the same thing aside from you pivot on one specific special summon. Okay, so this is a good point to start this back up to show you where the differences of the end board is going to be. So from here, you're going to go into your Appo, or sorry, not your Appo, you're going to go into your Tri-Gate Wizard. And just everything, like I said, is going to be the exact same as before, so I'm not really going to commentate this part of it too much. Special summon. And this is why I said also too to keep your Majesty Pegasus in your deck as much as possible, because at some point you're going to want to use them, and this is going to be one of those points. So from here, instead of using your Ignis Prominence to link into your Appo, you're actually going to use 1. And the reason why you're going to use 1 is specifically for this reason here. Once you go into your 2-mat Apo, you're then going to go into your Sprite Elf using Heavy Metal Foes and Ignis Prominence. Then going to Odd Eyes, setting it, bringing it back. And now from here, you're going to special summon Pegasus into this zone here. It honestly doesn't matter what zone, but it does actually no, I lied. It matters exactly to be the zone because of the fact that if you want to have the IP lock or the IP and the Trigate Wizard, you need it to be there because you won't have the zone placement anywhere else. So it has to be here every time. And then you activate a Singularity effect, bring back Firewall. And now you have Secret Village. Now let's say by some means, some way, somehow they're able to get this off of your field. You still actually have, let's say they have a kaiju, and they kaiju this off your field in order to facilitate their spell plays. You actually have another way of getting another spellcaster in from your graveyard onto your field by using IP Masquerena and then linking whatever this is off of your field into the SP. And then from there, you're able to use Elf effect if they have a monster on board in order to special summon from your graveyard another spellcaster in Beyond the Pendulum onto your field. So that's a way that you'll use. That's two ways you can get spellcasters onto the field. But from this point, they can't do anything spell-wise, and they're kind of cooked. Also, too, you have Singularity to bounce back. You have Fireball to bounce back. You have 2-mat Apo. So there's not much they can do, period, to pretty much beat around this board. This is pretty much, like I said, a FTK. You see this hit the hills is wraps for you. So from here, I'm going to show you real duels so that way you can see how this deck works in an actual environment rather than just, me press buttons against NPC, and show you what it's like when I'm bodying little kids because I'm a bully. All right, so here is my idea if you want to add me or check any of my replays. I play over an assortment of decks, but I do have a few replays that are public right now that are specific toward either going second, or actually both are just going second with this deck to show you that it has going second capability. The first one is going to be in a Duelist Cup, the other one is going to be in ranked. I'll show you the Duelist Cup one first. And I'm going against Voiceless Voice, which has a decent amount of interruptions, pops, Omni Negate, etc. And as you see, my hand is looking extremely good if I was going first, but I'm not going first. So they're going to go ahead and set up pretty much a basic Voiceless Voice, starting board. Not really too much I can do here because I have 0 hand traps. I'm just watching them combo off. And so what I have to play around here, Omni Negate, pop. I pretty much assumed that was going to be like an imperm or something like that, because I don't have any information on that card. But yeah, so essentially this ain't looking too good. Also, this card can just constantly bring back Skull Guardian, or it can bring back Skull Guardian one more time. So I'm reading about 4 interruptions or disruptions here, and I have 5 cards in hand. One of them is dead, and the other one isn't really a play. How do I play around this? Show you how. So from here, I start off with normal summoning Skullcrobat, and I do this mainly just to bait to see if that's an imperm or to just get that Omni to get out. He falls for it, thankfully. Cool, because I don't need this card. Wakaushi, scale, activate effect, Omni Negate, I don't have to worry about it, Soulpiercer effect. Now, here, since I don't have I use my normal summon already, I'm just going to go straight into a pin summon. But I have to worry about this. So I was hoping as soon as I scale this that he pops my low scale, because Majespecter is a 2. If he popped my low scale, which was theoretically the correct play, if I don't have another low scale, I'm cooked, but I did. He wins, but he pops it. I pretty much outplayed him with unknowing hand knowledge, and now I get the bully kids again. Plus, also on top of that, the best part about it is I get to bait another card in hand, which happens to be an Ash. The best part about this engine, if you don't have your Superheavy engine, is that you can go into the Dracoslayer engine. And the Dracoslayer engine by itself is also extremely dangerous. So don't sleep on this part. So the reason why he ashed this is because this would allow me to add any card from hand, or any card from my deck, any Dracoslayer from my deck to my hand, and then pop one of them. Meaning that I could add another monster to pin summon. He does not want that. Problem is, I already have 2 Dracoslayers in my scales, so this one specifically, Dynamite Power Loader, allows me to special summon another Dracoslayer that's in the other pin scale onto the field, thus causing me to go into Ignister Prominence. So from here, he falls for the bait yet again. Special summon. He falls for the bait yet again. Hoping that, because again, I don't need another field spell. I don't need any field spell in order to play. I was banking on this actually being in perm, because if he did not use it at this exact moment, if I try to go into Beyond, I'm cooked. If I try to go into Ignis Prominence, I'm cooked. But he fell for the bait. That's 4 disruptions that I just played through. And now from here, I can actually get into the real plays in order to win. Here's a Prominence Recalci effect. I don't want to put the other Recalci into my scale, because then my scales would be absolutely cooked. So instead, I search for a Motorbike. Motorbike give me another Recalci just to have another normal summon. Special summon, pop, return, special summon from there. Another thing that you should always remember is that the effect of Ignis Prominence allows you to pop or target any Pendulum on the field, and I mean any. So if your opponent has any, you can use theirs to pop and then return any card from their field to their deck. So I use that hand knowledge, and I use that knowledge in order to pop my own Ignis Phoenix. I won't use it in order to go into the regular plays, because I'm pretty much going for the kill here. In order to special summon another monster, which was a Luster Pendulum, since I won't use it to synchro summon and I can't use it for anything else, to then go into a link for Beyond. So I get rid of pretty much all of the problem cards. Get the other Monk, which is why I play 2 as well, just in case I need another low scale. And pretty much this game is over from this point. Electromite, I get a Revo, add the Revo to hand, just draw, Revo effect, and now it's just time to loop. Summon, pop, return, uses the effect Engrave, brings it back out. Expected that. I already knew it was going to happen. So I'll go into Princess effect, Electromite, put in scale, pop, grab, Revo again. Link these 2 off because I need an Engrave in order to use Revo in order to bring it back. But before that, go into Zeal. Now do Revo play. Bring it back, special summon yet again. Link these 2 off into Exceed. And the reason why I'm doing this play specifically is to add Revo again, just in case there is something else in hand that I need to worry about, but it won't matter. And you just see me being preemptive and being cautious, because again, had this been another situation, let's say he has something in hand like a nib or something like that, I'm able to make other plays. Also too, if I don't use Princess effect here, I instead could just go into a 2-mat Apo, special summon again, and then we're good. But like I said, we got it on build. We got pretty much game on board, so it didn't even matter. Yeah, it's just that simple. All right, here we go with game 2. I actually don't even remember this game. I know it wasn't ranked. I know I went second. I'll tell you, I'll remember it as soon as I see it. But yeah, off the top of my head, I do not remember what's going on. As you see, I have a Maxx in hand. That doesn't do anything. So it don't really matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of cooked. Now, as you see, my hand isn't really ideal because I don't have a way to go into Ignister Prominence. Is it another voiceless? It is another voiceless. Look at that. So I'll just go ahead and fast forward through Ro's turn. Man's pressing buttons, getting his Omni Negate, getting the whole 9, blah, blah, blah. Omni. Now, remember earlier when I said you can use any Pendulum monster? He searched the Pendulum monster. So if I get Ignis of Prominence, I'm able to use his card in order to bounce his card, which is super cool tech. I don't think I use it in this case, but pretty much here I'm expecting Omni Negate, probably an Imperm or Called by here, or and then also special summon damage, plus the spell negate. And luckily, off top deck, I just draw a normal level 4, so cool. Go for the effect, try to bait out the Omni Negate, didn't work. Kalshi effect. Boom, he doesn't negate, which is surprising, but he negates that. For some reason, he negates Soulpiercer. So I'm like, all right, sure, whatever. I don't need it. Continue my plays. Special summon damage, fine. Scale it. Activate effect. And like I said, it was an Imperm. So now I'm kind of stuck in a situation. Now you're probably wondering how I'm going to play around this. Remember, the best part about this deck is that I can just pin. I already have everything that I need. Special summon 2. Grab Sky Iris. This is the exact reason why I play it, to facilitate into a situation where I don't have a way to get Revo out of my deck onto the field. This is a way to do it. Sky Iris. Plus, on top of that, I can bait out this spell negate, because essentially he uses it here, expecting it to get popped, but it just negates, but nothing gets activated. So I get to use it anyway. Pop a Kalshi, get Revo. Electromite, get Astrograph. Pop Monk, I won't need it. That's the only reason why I'm popping it here. Now I'm just playing for endgame essentially. Princess, now I use Revo because it's engraved. Now I bring back Electromite. Now I'm going to use the effect here to pop to get out the Revo. Reason being is I know I cannot special Astrograph, but I have multiple opportunities to do so. As you'll see here, pop, bounce. You get to bring it back out again. Link those two off. I'm going to Raging Phoenix. Now I can scale. Pop it again. Bring it back. Activate Astrograph. Get another Revo. So as you see, this deck plays through an enormous amount of hand traps, an enormous amount of interruptions, and it doesn't matter. As long as I'm able to get into extra prominence for the most part, I'm able just to win. So from here, it's the normal fire deck ender. But as you see, that's how you go play second around with this deck, how you play around multiple interruptions and multiple disruptions. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that. And time for the outro of this. So if you got this far into the video, I appreciate it. If you want, you can follow me on Yu-Gi-Oh! You can check any of my replays. I play a variety of rogue decks and just decks that I find fun. I'm not a big meta deck kind of person. I play Dragon Link, I play Stardust Bestial, Endymion, you know, Nectaria Horus. Branded is one of my favorite decks. But yeah, and also check me out on Twitch, Emperor JG. Check out my YouTube if you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe. I play a variety of different games. I'm actually a shooter, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one of my things that I play a lot, and I'm actually extremely good at it. Yeah, I get the master pretty much every season. Sometimes I go to master 1, sometimes I don't. It really just depends if I really enjoy the season or not. Pretty much for this season, our last season and this season, I got bored of the fire meta, so I stopped playing. But I will be playing this if I have people, you know, come through. And yeah, make sure to follow, check out Nobu, check out Size Core. Both of them are really good Dragon Swordsman players. And thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And hopefully this inspires you to either play the deck or inspires Konami to ban Secret Village, because I'm so sick and fucking tired of seeing this card, man. It's so bad. it's so bad, man. It's such a sacky card. It's not fun to play with. Like, just let me Bagooska lock, and that way, you know, if they have an imperm, they can at least play. Like, this is not, it's no bueno. It's no bueno. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. You guys have a good day. Deuces.